Kutam, sinful propensity, will lead to bijam, sinful desire, and that will lead to again papam, which will lead to aprarabdha, which will lead to kutam, bijam, and again papam. So it's like a what you call do loop or whatever cycle. So one is stuck in that. How dangerous is that?
What is the difference between kutam and bijam?
Kutam is sinful propensity and bijam is sinful desire. So kutam seems to be more subtle. The propensity is there, but the desire is not yet come. Something like one has a habit of stealing here, there, stealing in one sense, like that, because of his sinful activities before. And then when he decides to steal from some man's wallet or something, then it has become bijam. Like we can see, we are from cultured families, so then when we see some wallet lying on the ground or some, so many people may have wallet in their pocket. So when we see, we don't even see. But those thieves, when they see, and they see, I think his can be stolen. He's little more inattentive. So that kind of, they will have that kutam. We don't have in one sense that kutam. We will have kutam for lust maybe or somewhere else. You understand? And then it will become bijam is now decide. Just like for Ajamil, the kutam was there because of his previous life sinful activity. Though he was Brahmana pure in that sense, this life, but previous life, because of some reason, he had that kutam and it became bijam when he saw that scene. See, if he was so pure, he would have just left that place. No? He did not. He washed it and then he developed desire. I must get her. And he got her to home. He got the prostitute. And became bijam. So all that circle. Sinful disposition. Kutam is also called a sinful disposition. We explained in one sense. I hope you got it.
Yes.
Like you don't have that sinful disposition of looking at others' wallet, अब देखते भी नहीं उसको, because you come from cultured family and पैसे की कुछ कमी नहीं है, you don't have shortage of money, but the thieves they are watching, his wallet is there, his wallet is backside, so that sinful disposition is not there. That's why the sinful desire also don't come in our mind. He says papam, the vices, papam he describes, the vices in their different stages of development are analyzed herein. Fadon mukham, vice. Vice means V-I-C-E, meaning dushkruti kind of, It's not that vice, V-I-C, vice. So they are analyzed. Fadon mukham vice is that which we may be undergoing at the present stage of life. Bijam vice is in the seedling process by our desires of different types. Kutam is prior to the stage of bijam, that is in the germinating stage. Aprarabdha is the fountain source of all, and from this storehouse of vicious life of all other stages develop. It's like what they call set. From the set comes subset. You understand? So aprarabdha is the whole, is the fountain source of all, and from this storehouse of vicious life all other stages develop, and all these stages of vicious life become at once switched off by adoption of devotional service. Then he talks of Kleshagni. In Madhya Lila 17 chapter 95th purport, Prabhupada says, there are three kinds of devotees: those who are eternally on the transcendental platform, Nitya Siddha; those who have been elevated to the transcendental platform by execution of devotional service, Sadhana Siddha; and those who are neophytes advancing towards the perfectional platform, sadhakas. The sadhakas are gradually becoming free from fruitive reaction. Simply by chanting the holy name of Krishna once, a person is relieved from all the reactions of a sinful life. Madhya 15 chapter 107th verse. And Tulsi Pradakshana mantra we know. Yani kani cha papani brahmahatyadikani cha tani tani pranashanti Pradakshina Pade Pade. When a person circumambulates Srimati Tulsi Devi, all the sins he may have committed are destroyed at every step. Even the sin of killing a Brahman. This is considered one of the top sins, Brahmahatya and Gohatya. But that also is destroyed, Brahmahatya Dikanicha. But then we read in NOD, yes, in page 91, I don't know where it is, but a devotee should not expect immediate relief from the reactions of his past misdeeds. A devotee who is not perfectly free from the resultant actions should therefore continue to act in Krishna consciousness seriously, even though there may be so many impediments. So we should not think, what is this? I am still suffering. You said Kleshagni, that is right in the sadhana stage only. I am practicing. Have patience. Go on. Then again, there are statements like Krishna's statement, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Mokshayishyami Masasha. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender to me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. Srila Prabhupada has extended Krishna's statement in the Bhagavad Gita to the spiritual master, who is Krishna's representative, that if you surrender to the spiritual master at the time of initiation, you become free from all sinful reactions. The Guru is also saying, you just surrender to me, I will relieve you from sinful reactions. So Prabhupada is, that's how translating, in a sense, paraphrasing in that way. So which is it? Are we actually free from all sinful reactions immediately when we surrender? Or do we gradually become free? How many of you have this question? I have surrendered to Krishna. So Krishna says, Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Mokshayishyami. I will deliver you from all sinful reactions, but I am still suffering only. So by surrendering we get rid of all the sinful reactions, or gradually we become free.
Gradually we become free.
Depending on surrender,
intensity of surrender. Or at what point of time, how much surrendered we are. Accordingly, reactions.
Yeah, everybody is expert. All are preachers only. So, okay, His Holiness Giriraj Maharaj says, Srila Prabhupada has given some other hints which could help us resolve this question. He has said that when the devotee surrenders to Krishna, Krishna will take charge of the devotee's sinful reactions and use the devotee's sinful reactions for the best benefit of the devotee. Krishna takes it. Now you are completely free. Now but he will watch how you commit sinful activities or how you offend Vaishnavas. So Krishna will give that in installment. Otherwise, who gives? In one sense, Maya gives. So this is like prasad. Like prasad and ordinary food. Bhoga rice and prasad rice. Both appear? Same. Similar. Both are rice only. But there is gulf of difference. By taking rice, this is given by Krishna. Krishna's saliva is milk. And this is, Krishna's saliva is not milk. So this will purify, this will make one sinful. Bunjate tu akam papa, ye pachanti atma karana. So like that. So Krishna takes devotees' sinful reactions with him, and then he will see what is the best for that devotee. That's why we have to be very careful. Even after surrendering, even after many years, otherwise Krishna will be upset with us that we are misusing the seniority, misusing our initiation which are long before. Because in his mind, a devotee may still maintain the remnants of his previous sinful mentality. The Lord removes the last vestiges of the enjoying spirit by giving his devotee punishments that may sometimes resemble sinful reactions. So sometimes it may appear like this is sinful reaction, but it is not. As you surrender, Krishna takes all the stockpile of sinful reactions with him, and he gives for devotee's betterment. Although a devotee has surrendered to the Lord's devotional service, until he is completely perfect in Krishna consciousness, he may maintain a slight inclination to enjoy the false happiness of this world. In 10.14.8 Bhagavatam purport, Tatyanukampam, there it is says, the Lord therefore creates a particular situation to eradicate this remaining enjoying spirit. This unhappiness suffered by a sincere devotee is not technically a karmic reaction. It is rather the Lord's special mercy for inducing his devotee to completely let go of the material world and return home back to Godhead. So sometimes we have seen, we are like that monkey, how monkeys are caught? They will put in a glass bottle, which is like this, and what do you call, the neck will be narrowing to such size by which the monkey's hand will go, but when he picks up the groundnuts, or what is that, when he tries to take it out, with this now it is expanded now, feast. Now it will not come out. What he has to do? Give up that. Then he can easily take it out. But he is caught like that. So like that we are also like that. When we try to do sinful activities and then we are getting caught by Maya and we are getting suffered. Krishna is slapping us now. So then what will happen? We will. The monkey will not give up groundnut, but we will give up sinful activities or some wrong things by Krishna's grace. So that is Krishna's whole plan. It is rather the Lord's special mercy for inducing his devotee to completely let go of the material world and return home back to Godhead. So Krishna is very merciful. Tatyanukampam he has called him. How many of you know Tatyanukampam shloka? Okay, in 10:14:8 it is there. Tatte means therefore, your. Tat is therefore, te, your. Anukampam, compassion. Susamiksha mano, iksha mano, means seeing. वो समीक्षा कर रहा है, इंतजार कर रहा है, earnestly hoping for. Tatyanukampam susamikshamano bhunjan, enduring. He's suffering meanwhile. Eva, certainly. Atma, done by himself. Krutam vipakam, the fruitive results. He has done some sinful activities in the past, so now he is suffering the reactions of that. But he is tolerating them also. He says, okay, fine, let it come. But listen, people say, oh Lord, let me not suffer. Take away the suffering. The Bollywood hero, when his mother is about to die, he will go to Shivji temple and बिजली चमकेगी, वर्षा होगी और बहुत कुछ होगा. भगवान सोए है क्या? When he is in distress, he goes to God and shouts on God. But devotee doesn't like it. Devotee tolerates. Bhunjan. And what else he does? Rudva Vapurvir Vidadhan Namaste. So Rud, Vak, Vapuhu. Rud means with his heart, Vak means words, and body, Vapuhu. Vidadhan. Vidadhan means offering. Nama, that is obeisances. Take unto you. With his body, mind, and words, and he surrendered to the Lord, he offers obeisances to the Lord. Jiveta, he lives. Yo, anyone who. Mukti pade, to the position of liberation. Sa, he. Daya bhak, that becomes his rightful here or claim. My dear Lord, one who earnestly waits for you to bestow your causeless mercy upon him, all the while patiently suffering the reactions of his past misdeeds and offering you respectful obeisances with his heart, words, and body, is surely eligible for liberation, for it has become his rightful claim. Got it? Clear? So we should not claim, we should not say that, oh Lord, I am your devotee, you should remove suffering. No, Lord knows better. So we know I have done many sinful activities. Let me suffer, no problem. With my body, mind, and what? I'll continue serving the Lord. यस्याहम अनुग्रहणामि हरिष्ये तद्धनं शनैः ततो अधनं त्यजन्ति अस्य स्वजना दुःख दुःखितम्. The personality of Godhead said in 10:88:8 Bhagavatam, if I especially favor someone, I gradually deprive him of his wealth. Then the relatives and friends of such a poverty-stricken man abandon him. In this way, he suffers one distress after another. Don't worry, if you are attached to wealth, it is not for you. It is for a very sincere devotee who says, Krishna, I am yours. And then, saying that, he shows some attachment to wealth or anything mundane. Then Krishna will do that for him. He is very elevated soul. Stages of eradication of anarthas in Madhurya Kadambini is saying. How many of you have heard lectures at least on Madhurya Kadambini? Harishan Guru gives some lectures like that. So he says, stage bhakti, sin or pious, and nam aparad. So he says, attaining Lord's lotus feet, so that is absolute they call? Words are there Sanskrit. Prayiki. I don't remember now. Prema is complete. Atyanta or something like that. Bhava is almost complete. We will not get into this thing. How the Kleshagni? In Madhurya Kadamini he says, now let us discuss Taranga Rangini. The last stage of Anishtita devotional service. In describing the nature of bhakti, it is said that everyone is attracted towards the reservoir of bhakti, the devotee. The devotee himself becomes a treasure house of good qualities and mercy. These characteristics attract people who in turn crown the devotee with wealth, adoration, distinction and position. So all these things will come to you all. Each one of us will get wealth. I see when I travel, so many people give so much wealth. Somebody gives 500, somebody gives 1,000, 2,000. Somebody gives 10,000, 11,000. So wealth will come. Adoration, a lot of people will glorify. Distinction, ऊपर चढ़ाएंगे आपको, वैसा समझते. And position देंगे, you get garlands like that. एक वरमाला मिस क्या हो गई? बहुत सारी माला आ रही है. वरमाला during marriage, the woman puts garland to the husband. तो हमने कृष्ण को अपना हस्बैंड समझ के उनको ही गारलैंड पहना दिया. तो अभी इतने गारलैंड्स आ रहे. तो ऐसे. So he says, although these accolades come to him as byproducts of bhakti, they nevertheless may stunt the spontaneous growth of the creeper of devotion if he uses them for his self-aggrandizement. because देखो हमारे पास माला है, ये क्या कहते हो, भाव खा रहा है वो, बहुत he is very अहंकारी. So if he uses all this for his own self-aggrandizement, then it is a problem. It will stunt his spiritual growth. Stunt यानी check, stop. Taranga means waves and Rangini means play. Therefore, in the vast unlimited ocean of bhakti, these byproducts are waves that create tempests in devotional life. The devotee aspiring for pure devotion sees these waves to be harmless, only gleefully playing and cresting. So, devotee is not interested in that. Then he says, material contamination is very subtle. It is its beginning, its fruition that we read. It is often very difficult to ascertain the cause of the disease. The practical injection to stop all the fructifications of the seeds of our sinful activities is simply engagement in Krishna consciousness. Concluding quote is that this sinful desire seed can be removed only by achieving Krishna consciousness, and this can be accomplished very easily by chanting the Mahamantra or Hare Krishna mantra as recommended by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In other words, unless one adopts the path of devotional service, he cannot be 100% clean from all reactions of sinful activity. So this is the part of Kleshagni. So Krishna, next is, let me see here. Kleshagni and all that was described earlier. Then next is Shubhada. This is also removed in Sadhan Bhakti stage. Removed, no, this is obtained, sorry. Klesha is removed and Shubhada, all auspicious is obtained. So he is giving some definition. Shubhani, I cannot read the font. Sarva Jagatam Anukarta. But anyway, translation is Sarva Jagatam, what is the word? Compassion for everyone. This Shubhada has many, some 4 things also in that. So one is compassion for everyone. You'll see in the beginning stage sadhakas, they are very strict and very rude kind of. How many of you have seen rude devotees? Appear like cruel also. He's very strict practitioner, but he'll be very rude with others. So compassion for everyone. If you see very senior devotees, they are very compassionate. No matter what mistakes you do, ठीक है. When Sudama Prabhu Maharaj was sent to preach in Tokyo, he went and then he preached, but it was a very dangerous city, Maya's full capital. So he fell away. He gave up his sannyas, etc. After some time in Hawaii or somewhere, preaching was to be done. So the Prabhupada was sitting with GPC, who can be sent? So then Prabhupada said, Sudama can be sent. And he was shocked, Sudama? The fallen soul, like that. You know, Prabhupada, some sannyasis required. Okay, we will give him sannyas, Sakran again. And he was shocked. And then again he was given again. So some 2-3 times it happened. He gave up. But Prabhupada was very compassionate. Prabhupada's compassion knew no bounds. Whole world. He built a house in which the whole world can live peacefully. That is Prabhupada. So Anuraktata attracts everyone. So devotee, when in sadhana bhakti stage, when he gets this second quality, Shubhada, so all auspiciousness comes in his life. By that he attracts everyone. Everybody becomes attracted to that devotee. You can see how seniors, the gurus and all that, how people get attracted to them so much. Even materialistic people will be attracted. Then Sadguna, that means bestows good qualities. He will be decorated with many nice good qualities. That Titikshava Karanika or 26 qualities of devotee or Yasyasti Bhaktir Bhagavati Akinchana Sarve Gunastatra Samasate Suraha. All the divine qualities of demigods, they manifest in the body of a devotee. So Sadguna, that is third thing. Compassion for everyone. Sarva Jagat, some Preenanam, something, what is it? Anuraktata, attracts everyone. Bestows good qualities. Sadguna. And fourth is Sukham. Bestows superior happiness. He gets such a superior happiness, he is Dhanam Sundarim, not attracted only. He is happy. Materialistic people will be running after wealth, like many of your equals in the college after they pass out. And they want 1 lakh rupees per month, or they want so much money. But you will not have that. You are enjoying some other happiness only, superior, spiritual happiness. So these 4 things are part of Shubhada that will come in your life. So then he explains, first one, compassion for everyone and attracts everyone. This is there, I think. Maybe we'll go through this text also in the book. And then there. Or we'll go from there, or which sequence? Maybe from the book first. So Krishna consciousness is all auspicious. Rupa Goswami has given a definition of auspiciousness. He says that actual auspiciousness means welfare activities for all the people of the world. United Nations, they try to do that for World Health Activity, but they are having shortcoming. So they are not able to please. They are not able to do welfare work for the whole world. Then Preenanam is the word that I said. No? Shubhagni Preenanam Sarva Jagatam Anuraktata. Sanskrit words of Rupa Goswami. Padma Puran says, a person who is engaged in devotional service in full consciousness is to be understood to be doing the best service to the whole world and to be pleasing everyone in the world. In addition to human society, he is pleasing even the trees and animals because they also become attracted by such a movement. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu making Jharkhand forest animals to sing, dance. So there is no question of animosity, enmity with other living entities. So you are very compassionate to all living entities. So they get attracted to you also. Even animals should be attracted to you. Like that. But don't go and feed biscuits to down there. Basically, you perform devotional service very nicely, automatically they will be attracted. Then next paragraph he says, quoting from 518, that Yasasti Bhakti we already said. So last line in that paragraph, second last. On account of a devotee's high grade of Krishna consciousness, even the demigods like to live with him. And therefore it can be understood that the qualities of the demigods have developed within the body. For Guru it is said, Sarva Deva Mayo Guruhu. All the demigods reside in the body of Guru. Acharya Mam Vijaniyam Na Avamanneta Karhichit Namartya Buddhi Asuyeta Sarva Deva Mayo Guruhu. 11th canto, Uddhav Gita, Krishna is telling. And Acharya Mam Vijaniyam. Know the Acharya, the Guru to be myself. साक्षात् हरित्वेन समस्त शास्त्र आचार्य मां विजाने न अवमान्येत करेजित. That's why never disrespect an acharya. न मर्त्य बुद्धि असूयेत, because of your mundane materialistic mental hellish mentality. न मर्त्य बुद्धि असूयेत. Don't become envious of acharya. Don't become envious of your guru. You say, I'm not envious. That is because you are away from him. If you go close to him, you will express your envy because you are envious fellow. So he's saying, don't do that. Render service to Guru, then you get rid of envy. But just watch him like that. So much enjoyment is doing. He was in AC car. मुझे नहीं, उनको मिलता है. Not that. नमस्ते बुद्धि अस्वेद सर्वदेव मयो गुरु. All the demigods reside in the body of Guru. It's like this, cow's body. All demigods are in the body of cow. So all the demigods are in the body of pure devotee, spiritual master. So that just as the Sarva Guna Sastra Sama. Why all the good qualities of demigods are manifest in a devotee? So all the demigods are living in his body only. They want to take his association because of his high grade Krishna consciousness. So that is describing his saintly nature or all attractiveness. That second paragraph. And then third paragraph is talking about all beneficial. On the other hand, a person who is not Krishna consciousness has no good qualities. Even though a person is highly educated academically, if he cannot go beyond the sphere of mental activities, then he is sure to perform only material activities and thus remain impure. So devotees' activities are all beneficial. For example, a Krishna conscious boy, Haribol, all of you are reporting. Even if he is not very well educated, you are highly educated by the university standard. But even if you fail in IIT Dhanbad, in case, or you don't enter only IIT Dhanbad, can immediately give up all illicit sex life, gambling, meat eating, and intoxication. Whereas those who are not in Krishna consciousness, although very highly educated, are often drunkards, meat eaters, sex mongers, and gamblers. So saintly qualities develop in a devotee. He says, people think modern education is auspicious and will endow us with good qualities, but that is not what we see. Professing they become sex mongers, drunkards. How many educated people they are smoking cigarette? Even girls smoke cigarettes, and they go to restaurants, etc. And the fourth, last paragraph talks about bestows superior happiness. One who is not in Krishna consciousness usually cannot sit silently even for half an hour. So I think this is for current class only. The devotees can sit for 3 hours also. And if Krishna inspires me to go for 5 hours, devotee will still remain silently sitting. They will say one thing, Prabhu, you close your eyes and keep giving class. One by one go away. We'll take breakfast and come back. No, not like that. It is not for you. You are very advanced. So see, you are being glorified for attending 3 hours of Bhakti Shastri class. That's why I wanted 3 hours. Not for my pleasure. To prove that the statements of the Vedas are true. And you have achieved these 6 characteristics. At least first 2 of sadhakas, sadhan bhaktas. So like that. So then Prabhupada says all that. So then he says one develops towards the end. One develops the highest character by becoming a pure devotee of Krishna. The conclusion is that no one can truly have any good qualities if he is lacking Krishna consciousness. So that is Shubhadha. Let us see here. Srila Rupa Goswami has given a definition of auspiciousness. He says that actual auspiciousness means welfare activities for all the people of the world. The Krishna consciousness moment is so nice that it can render the highest benefit to the entire human race. Everyone can be attracted by this moment and everyone can feel the result. Therefore, Rupa Goswami and other learned scholars agree that a broad propaganda program for the Krishna consciousness movement of the devotional service all over the world is the highest humanitarian welfare activity. So we should should preach like anything, all of us, each one of us. Jare dekho, tare gaho, Krishna Upadesh, on individual basis, and then have big programs. Have Janmashtami, have Rath Yatra. Spread Krishna consciousness because this is creating auspiciousness for everyone. It is beneficial to one and all. And we can see also how it is attracting, how ISKCON is becoming now very famous. Like I was coming in the plane, so person next to me, he was telling that Hyderabad में ISKCON का मंदिर का inauguration के लिए CM आए थे. CM क्यों? I said, no, really? I was staying in Hyderabad for 1 week. I came from Hyderabad only 2 years. I said, no, but I was there and nobody told me. He said, no, I will tell you. So he showed me in his mobile how CM came, or that, basically that is that Akshay Patra wale. They are going to come up with 400 feet tall temple there. So everybody is attracted. So Sadgunam is the word, produces good qualities. A Krishna conscious boy that we discussed already, even if not very good. So Krishna conscious devotees are highly qualified, highly attractive, not other. And then next is Sukham, bestows superior happiness. Lord Chaitanya once revealed himself to this confidential devotee, Kolavecha Sridhar, and offered him any opulence he liked. But Sridhar informed the Lord that he did not want any material opulence. That is the position of pure devotees. So come, how much? Now if somebody says, Prabhu comes, like somebody, Raisham was telling years before, and if this was around 15-20 years ago. If now somebody comes to me and says, I'll offer you a job, monthly 20 lakhs rupees, I will not even think of it. Not that I'll go to my room and I'll think, 20 lakhs per month, more than 2 crore per year. Good offer. I think I should go for it. No question, because we are experiencing superior happiness. So this is what money, dhanam, janam, sundarim, has no consequence, has no beauty what Krishna consciousness has. Happiness derived from pure devotional service is the highest because it is eternal. Mayavadi sannyasis descend to the material platform again. You know that Aruya Krishnena Param Padam Tataha, they emerge in Brahma Jyoti, Patanti Adaha Anadruta Yishwanagra. But they fall down again because they don't respect the lotus feet of the Lord. And Prabhupada says after they fall down, come down, what they do? They get engaged in social welfare activity, philanthropic activity. And many times they don't even go to Brahma Jyoti. In this life only, many of the Mayavadi sannyasis you can see, they are engaged in social welfare activities. Many Mayavadi mathas and all, and Swamis. In India we find, ये स्वामी जी बहुत अच्छे हैं क्योंकि गरीबों को इतना खाना खिलाते हैं और ये बहुत अच्छे इन्होंने हॉस्पिटल खोला है, उनके नाम के हॉस्पिटल्स होते हैं. So we see not even आरुह्य कृष्ण परम पदम तथा पतंत्य वो सब हुए भी ना इसी लाइफ में बोले इतना डिटूर करके फिर से वही करना है ना, यही से बात कर देते सोशल वेलफेयर एक्टिविटी. But we don't get into all this social welfare activity. Or we do highest social welfare activity by connecting the jiva to Krishna. No difference between mystic perfection and materialistic perfection. Prabhupada just puts in all in one category. So moksha labhuta parita, and that we have not started. No? I think here it is going very fast, but we have not started this. Here we have not discussed this happiness in Krishna consciousness. So Srila Rupa Goswami has analyzed the different sources of happiness. He has divided happiness into 3 categories. Basically in Sanskrit, Jadanand, Brahmanand, Bhaktianand. Jadanand means Jad, जो object है, उनके enjoying through them. Material pleasures, basically. Jadanand. Beyond that, Jnanis and Yogis who aim for liberation, merging in impersonal Brahman, they achieve Brahmanand. And far beyond, highest is Bhaktianand by performing devotional service. Devotee gets it. So it is said, Jnanis and Yogis, what happiness they enjoy, Brahmanand, in oceanic spiritual bliss. The word for this Brahmanand is spiritual happiness, and word for Bhaktianand is devotional happiness. Otherwise you will misunderstand. ये क्या बोल रहे हैं? Spiritual happiness. What discussion? But the technical terms are like that. Brahmanand is translated as spiritual happiness and Bhaktianand as devotional happiness. Just like Prabhupada said, there are 3 types of transcendentalists. Who are they? Jnanis, Yogis and Bhaktas. So Jnanis, Yogis also are transcendentalists. But the topmost transcendentalist is a devotee. So we have to understand the way Prabhupada uses the terms also. So material happiness, spiritual happiness and devotional happiness. So what Jnani's experience or yogi's experience, the oceanic spiritual happiness in comparison to material happiness is like one drop of that, so insignificant. And in other way, for devotees, what devotional happiness they experience is like ocean, and in comparison to that, what the Jnanis and yogis experience, spiritual happiness, is like a one drop of that oceanic happiness. It is nothing in comparison. That is the comparison there. So those three things are told, and accordingly some statements are there. Happiness derived from pure devotional service is the highest because it is eternal. That is the third paragraph. So all that we discussed, this Anima Siddhi Prabhupada described these siddhis in the fourth or fifth paragraph. Anima Siddhi refers to the power by which one can become so small that he can enter into a stone. Modern scientific improvements also enable us to enter into stone because they provide for excavating so many surfaces penetrating the hills. So this fellow by Anima Siddhi enters in stone. And what we have subways, metros now. Metro is coming in many big cities. Pune it has come now almost, and then Delhi to anyway there, Kolkata, many places. So what are they doing? Entering in stone. So Prabhupada saying mystic perfection and materialistic perfection, both are same only. That appears somewhat subtle, or whatever, this appears to be gross. So Anima Siddhi, the mystic perfection of trying to enter into stone, has also been achieved by material science. Similarly, all the yoga siddhis or perfections are material arts. The next paragraph he says, actually there is no difference between mystic perfection and materialistic perfection. A German scholar once said that the so-called yoga perfections had already been achieved by the modern scientists, and so he was not concerned with them. Like yogis will walk on water. So now we have material perfection in terms of material advancement, having boats, and you can walk over the water through boat. So mystic perfection and materialistic perfection, both are same. Both are useless in one sense. Then he can enter into sun planet simply by using the rays of the sunshine. This perfection is called Laghima. Similarly, a yogi can touch the moon with his finger. Now our Chandrayaan is lying there. So he's telling how it is, both are same. So the Siddhi is called Prapti. He can acquire anything from anywhere. With this Prapti Siddhi, not only can a perfect mystic yogi touch the moon planet, but he can extend his hand anywhere and take whatever he likes. He may be sitting thousands of miles away from a certain place. If he likes, he can take anything from that garden. Then Ishita, one can create and destroy an entire planet simply at will. Oshita, at this perfection, one can bring anyone under his control. They have, I think, that hypnotism, I think, or some other things are also there. So many things are. Prakamya, next paragraph. Magic. The Prakamya power, one can achieve anything he likes. Then Kama Vasaita permits one to contradict nature, in other words, to do impossible. So then he says that foolishly people are enamored of the glimmer of modern materialistic advancement, are thinking that the Krishna Consciousness movement is for less intelligent men. I'm better off being busy with my material comforts, maintaining a nice apartment, family and sex life. So Prabhupada is elaborating all this, how in the modern day, all this, because Prabhupada books are for next 10,000 years. So how modern day foolish civilization takes pleasure in seeing all these things. So all these people do not know that at any moment they can be kicked out from their materialistic situation. Due to ignorance, they do not know that real life is eternal. The temporary comforts of the body are not the goal of life. So I am skipping some paragraphs, and that paragraph, actually a pure devotee does not aspire after any of this perfection. In middle he says, one drop of happiness in Krishna consciousness stands beyond comparison with an ocean of happiness derived from any other activity. Kulavicha Sridhar is quoted. Then next paragraph in the Narada Pancharatra, it is said that any person who has developed even a small amount of devotional service doesn't care a fig for any kind of happiness derived from religiousness, economic development, sense gratification, or 5 kinds of liberation. That means dharma, artha, Kam and moksha. No question. Any kind of happiness derived from religiousness, economic development, liberation, or such liberation cannot even dare to enter into the heart of a pure devotee. If you want, you can underline this. That means devotee is completely free from even desire to have or perform the dharma, artha, kama, moksha. All these are slokas given by Rupa Goswami in his book. Prabhupada has not given any sloka, he's directly giving English translation or paraphrasing in short. So only devotional service can lead to all this. Only devotional service is truly all auspicious. So that is, what is that? Moksha Lagutagru, happiness in Krishna consciousness. So here now, they derived even the conception of liberation, Moksha Lagutagru. In Narada Pancharatra, it is stated that as the personal attendants and maidservants of a queen follow the queen with all respect and obeisances, similarly the joys of religiousness, economic development, sense gratification and liberation follow the devotional service of the Lord. So, Bhakti Devi, when she goes, she is the queen, and behind her who will be there? Bhakti will be there, with all this dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Mukti Devi also will be following. So all that is there already for a devotee. Devotee doesn't care also about all these things. Then next is Sudurlabha. The rareness of pure devotional service. How many of you read this chapter earlier? How many students who are part of Bhakti Shastri have not read it, this chapter? I think that means those who are still, you are part of Bhakti Shastri. You have not read it?
Read. Previously we read, but not that once.
Previously read, but not in these last 15 days. But anyway, we are going fast, as you are seeing also. I am not reading everything from there. Supposing that you all have read, and we are just touching upon the concept and moving ahead. He says in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 19.151, by the mercy of the spiritual master who is a pure devotee, and by the mercy of Krishna, one can achieve the platform of devotional service. Guru Krishna Prasadipai, Bhakti Lata Beach. There is no other way. And then Shiva says to Sati, my dear Sati, if one is very fine philosopher analyzing the different processes of knowledge, he can achieve liberation from the material entanglement. By performance of the ritualistic sacrifices recommended in the Vedas, one can be elevated to the platform of pious activities and thereby enjoy the material comforts of life to the fullest extent. But all such endeavors can hardly offer an even devotional service to the Lord, not even if one tries for it by such processes for many, many thousands of births. So devotional service is Sudurlabha, very rare. So we should preach. We have all got devotional service, and we are ordered also to preach. And this is very rarely obtained, and we should give it. By giving, it doesn't reduce for us; it increases all the more. One must become blessed by the dust of the lotus feet of a pure devotee who is completely free from the contamination of material desires. Then next paragraph he says, Narad says to Yudhishthir Maharaj, Lord is Mukunda. He is only worshipable God for you. He is very dear and affectionate. The purport to this verse is that the Lord easily offers liberation, but He rarely agrees to offer a soul devotional service, because by devotional service the Lord Himself becomes purchased by the devotee. Muktim dadati karichit nacha bhakti yogam. I don't know, the Lord Kapila says that I will give mukti also, I will give bhakti also to anybody else, but bhakti I will not give so easily, because if I give bhakti, I become purchased by Him, I become His property. So only after scrutinizingly analyzing whether the person is pure or not, he should not misuse me. So then Krishna will give. So bhakti is very rare, Sudurlabha. Pure devotional service is rarely achieved, that is Sudurlabha. Cannot be achieved by one's own efforts. one may perform in the preliminary phase of spiritual life. There are different kinds of austerities, penances, similar processes for attaining self-realization. But all such endeavors can hardly offer anyone devotional service to the Lord, not even if one tries for it by such processes for many, many thousands of years. Mahaprasade Govinde, Nama Brahmani, Vaishnave. स्वल्प पुण्यवतम राजन विश्वास ड्यूटी हो जाने भाई का हो गया क्या क्लास अभी जी इधर ही सर्विंग करने वाले प्लेट्स तो दिखने रहे प्रसाद तो दिख नहीं रहा क्या बात है सबका एकदम सब चौकन में हो गए क्योंकि जो फेज में थे अचानक हवा में उड़ने लग गए क्लास खत्म हो गई सर बिना प्रभुपाद की जय बोले प्रभुपाद ने प्रभु जी ने डायरेक्टली महाप्रसाद गोविंद महाप्रसाद गोविंद इसे स्वल्प पुण्यवतम राजन विश्वास में जाते विद लिटिल बिट ऑफ पाइटी वन कैन नॉट हैव फेथ इन महाप्रसाद नाम ब्रह्मणि दैट परम नाम ब्रह्म एंड वैष्णवस एंड ब्राह्मणस महाप्रसादे गोविंदे नाम ब्रह्मणि वैष्णवे like that. Sometimes Nam and Brahma is taken as two, Nam and Brahmanas, but some explanations are there. Most of the time it seems Nam Brahma is spiritual name. So Sudurlabha is rarely achieved. Krishna rarely awards it because he gets purchased by the devotee. Then there is Sandrananda Visheshatma. So this Sudurlabha and Sandrananda Visheshatma. No, sorry, the earlier two. Which one they? Kleshagni and Shubhada. They are part of Sadhana Bhakti. They manifest that time. And in Bhava Bhakti, Sandrananda Visheshatma and Moksha Lagutagrit. And this Sudurlabha and Moksha Lagutagrit. They are part of Bhava Bhakti. And now these two, Sandrananda Visheshatma and attracting Krishna. Now I cannot go back. Is that the thing I had told earlier? Isn't it? Yeah. And Sandrananda Visheshatma and Sri Krishna Karshani are part of Prema Bhakti. So this earlier one, Sudurlabha, he said this characteristic of pure devotional service manifests at the stage of Bhava. Consequently, we can understand that a person cannot obtain Bhava Bhakti by any path of self-realization. Even Sadhan Bhakti cannot directly bestow Bhava. By Lord's grace only one can have Bhava. But then Sandrananda Visheshatma, Srila Rupa Goswami said that in Brahmananda, or the happiness of becoming one with the Supreme is multiplied by 1 trillion fold, it still cannot compare to an atomic fraction of the happiness derived from the ocean of devotional service. There is even a statement, not here I think, that if you are walking in Govardhan Parikrama or Vrindavan Parikrama, Vraja Parikrama, if you are going and one thorn pierces your foot because you are bare feet. So the pleasure derived by that one thorn breaking cannot be compared to all the Brahman merging in the Brahma Jyoti, etc. This pleasure is supreme. So in case you are in Parikrama and that happens, be happy. If you are, what is this Krishna? Then that means you are not Bhava Bhakti stage and Prema Bhakti stage. And you say, yeah, definitely I am not. But pure devotees don't cry, they are ecstatic like that. The pure devotional service automatically puts one in transcendental pleasure, incalculable condensed bliss. This is the expansion of the meaning. Sandrananda Visheshatma means incalculable condensed bliss. Brahmanando Bhavet. What is that? Esha Chit Parabha. Some Sanskrit verses are there. Srila Rupa Goswami says that in Brahmananda, the happiness of becoming one with the Supreme is multiplied. That we discussed 1 trillion fold. It still cannot be compared to an atomic fraction of the happiness derived from the ocean of devotional service. So Shubhada, here it is given. Shubhada in Sadhan Bhakti is superior to happiness of sense gratification or liberation. Moksha Lagutagrit in Bhava Bhakti minimizes the value of sense gratification or liberation. And fifth one, that is Sandrananda Visheshatma in Prema Bhakti stage, so incalculably superior that one cannot even perceive the existence of sense direction. So if you see this Bhukti and Mukti are always inferior to the happiness or whatever that gets in Bhakti path. So all three are discussed: Sadhan Bhakti, Bhava Bhakti and Prem Bhakti. Sadhan Bhakti, that Kleshagni. Second is Shubhadam. So Shubhadam is all auspicious, is superior to happiness or sense gratification or liberation. So these two are condemned there. And in the Bhava Bhakti stage, he has Moksha Lagutakrut. So there also Bhukti and Mukti are they are minimized. Moksha Lagutakrut, chota kar diya usko. And Sandhananda Visheshatma in Prema Bhakti also incalculably condensed bliss. So thus one does not even perceive the Bhukti and Mukti pleasures. No question of that. And then last is Sri Krishna question. Here what is missing? So here is quoting from Bhavavartha Deepika of Sridhar Swami. My dear Lord, some of the fortunate persons who are swimming in the ocean of your mercy, of your nectar of devotion, and who are relishing the nectar of narration of your pastime, certainly know ecstasies which immediately minimize the value of the happiness derived from religiousness, economic development, sense gratification and liberation. Such a transcendental devotee regards any kind of happiness other than devotional service as no better than straw in the street. So nothing can penetrate metal. That example I already gave. So there is no other perception or thought can even momentarily register in the devotee's mind. Such thick condensed bliss is experienced. And the last one is attracting Krishna, that is Sri Krishna Karshani. This is the Prema Bhakti stage. The symbol of devotional service at the highest degree is Srimati Radharani. So Madan Mohan Mohini we discussed earlier of the. And then second paragraph, third paragraph, fourth one, that how Krishna becomes attracted by the devotional service of his devotees in when described by Narada in that 7, 10, 48, 49. He says to Yudhishthira Maharaj, glorification of Prahlad Maharaj, a devotee always appreciates the activities of other devotees. Yudhishthira Maharaj was appreciating the qualities of Prahlad, and that is one symptom of a pure devotee. A pure devotee never thinks himself great. He always thinks that other devotees are greater than himself. So Yudhishthira Maharaj thought Prahlad is superior to me, is very great, greater than me. So that is a characteristic of pure devotee. So he says to perform pure devotional service means to follow in the footsteps of Radharani. And devotees in Vrindavan put themselves under the care of Radharani in order to achieve perfection in their devotional service. Being directly under the control of the internal potency of Krishna, devotional service attracts even Krishna himself. The pure devotional service means Srimati Radharani. So thus these are the 6 characteristics of pure devotional service: Kleshagni, Shubhata, Moksha Lagutaprit, Sudurlabha, Sandhananda Visheshatma and Sri Krishna Darshan. So Kleshagni is relief from material distress. 3 causes of material distress: Papam, Bijam, Avidya, simple reactions, material desires, ignorance. And Shubhata is all auspicious. 4 things. What are they?
Compassion for everyone.
Compassion for everyone. Sadguna, that is produces good qualities. Attracts everyone.
All beneficiaries those who
Bestows superior happiness. That is all Shubhata. Moksha Lagutaprit derives concept of liberation. 4th is Sudurlabha, rarely achieved, cannot be achieved by own efforts. Krishna rarely awards it, but that's why it is Sudurlabha. So in the Bhava Bhakti stage you will achieve that. Pure devotion. Sandhananda Visheshatma, 5th one, incalculably condensed bliss. And 6th is Sri Krishna Darshan, the only means to attract Krishna under the control of the internal potency of Krishna. So concluding words of Prabhupada, he remained with those royal brothers, Yudhishthira Maharaj, being attracted by their devotion, by their friendship. No, Krishna remained with these royal brothers, being attracted by their devotion, by their friendship and by their love. That is the proof of how great this process of devotional service is. It can attract even the Supreme Personality of Godhead. God is great, but devotional service is greater than God because it attracts Him. In foreign countries, one Muslim came to temple. So then the devotee was saying, yeah, we accept Allah is supreme, but Allahadini is superior to even Allah. He was wondering, this is Mrs. Allah. Allah to ye Allahadini. Mrs. Allah is superior to Allah also. Allahadini is superior to Allah also. Allah is superior to Allah. God is great, but devotional service is greater than God because it attracts Him. People who are not in devotional service can never understand what great value there is in rendering service to the Lord. They cannot understand. Okay, that is all. I don't know whether to ask for question. Time we have already. But still, any question? If at all. Otherwise, we'll end.
Example of this Jnani Yukta Bhakti.
Basically, what is the proportion, more proportion? One is into bhakti line, but then the tinge of gyan is there. Tinge means or little more maybe there. So he is coming from jnana marg, then he is getting into bhakti. So gyan is more, bhakti is less. But eventually he has bhakti more, but then gyan is less. So then accordingly the terms are there. Jnana yukta bhakti or bhakti yukta gyan. What is predominant? That is gyan, and in that bhakti is there also. So bhakti yukta gyan. But you want example of basically any of these processes, whether karma yoga, jnana yoga or ashtanga yoga, without having little bit of bhakti, they cannot reach perfection. So that's why it has to be there. So it will be there, but depending on what is more, somebody is predominantly in the jnana marg but has some bhakti, it will be called jnana yukta bhakti. Like that. An example as such, at least I have not heard, but that depends on what is more prominent in them. Like Durvasa Muni, when he is Akshapatra story, when he goes to forest and he is dipped in the Yamuna and is meditating, why is he taking so long? He is an impersonalist. This impersonal meditation is very difficult. Klesho adhika tarastesha. वो नहीं कर meditation. क्या meditation होगा? Light is light. कैसे meditation करें? तो उसमें time जा रहा है उनका. Sorry, Ambrish Maharaj case, not that Akshapatra. Ambrish Maharaj case. So that's why there is a delay. But here time is passing by, so he is wondering what to do. So he took water. We want to perform pure devotional service. That is our only goal.
Some devotees understand go in deep, like analytically study another.
But to preach, to spread Krishna consciousness, then it is not Gyan. We have this Bhakti Yukta, there is so many Bhakti literature. This is not Gyan part. That is mental speculation. This is philosophical speculation. We accept the commentaries of Acharyas. We don't speculate. नहीं ये जो सीधा स्वामी ने बोला ना ये सब बकवास है. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became angry on Vallabh Bhatta. He said, I have written a commentary on Bhagavatam which surpasses Swami's commentary. Then immediately Mahaprabhu said, anybody who rejects Swami is a prostitute. It has two meanings. That means any commentator on Bhagavatam who rejects Sridhar Swami, this is original Swami, Sridhar Swami, first commentator, his commentary, so he is a prostitute. And another meaning is, if the wife rejects her husband, she is a prostitute. So we don't reject Acharya's commentary. In fact, we want to read more and more Acharya's commentary and get better and better understanding or full understanding like that. You understand? So that is not Gyan part at all. Any other? Okay, if at all, then you may ask in the evening. So we'll end here. Shri Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu ki jai, Shri Rupa Goswami Pad ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Pramanandi. Today is idea.
पॉज कर दीजिए।